Imagine this, one normal day at the same exact moment. Every single human on Earth disappears, not forever, just for 24 hours. There's no warning, no strange signs in the sky. Just a sudden, deafening silence. What would really happen to our world in just one day without us? In the first hour, the world stops breathing. Imagine millions of cars suddenly empty, rolling slowly to a halt on highways and city streets. Their engines might still be running, but their drivers are gone. Trains, operating on automated schedules, keep moving for a while, but eventually their safety systems kick in, bringing them to a stop in the middle of nowhere. High above, airplanes continue their journey on autopilot. For now, they are ghosts in the sky, flying towards destinations they will never reach, their fuel tanks slowly emptying. The bustling sounds of civilization, the honking, the shouting, the construction vanish. Cities become silent in a way they've never been before, an eerie quiet that feels both peaceful and deeply unsettling. The world has been put on pause, but the machinery we left behind is still ticking. By the third hour, animals are the first to truly notice the change. They don't understand what happened, but they feel it. In homes across the globe, dogs sit by front doors, whining and waiting for a return that isn't coming today. Cats stretch out in sunny spots on empty couches, blissfully unaware but enjoying the uninterrupted peace. Outside, the animal kingdom begins to stir. Flocks of birds, no longer startled by traffic, descend to explore empty roads and plazas, pecking at discarded food. On farms, the routine is broken. Cows, goats, and horses, sensing their freedom, start to push against fences, eventually wandering out of their enclosures and into the open world. Zoos become strangely quiet. The usual crowds are gone, and the animals within their enclosures stare out into an empty landscape. In the wilderness, on the fringes of our cities, wild animals cautiously step into human spaces for the first time. A deer might wander onto a deserted suburban street, or a coyote might trot boldly down a sidewalk. The world is theirs now. 6 hours in, our technology begins to break down, not from damage, but from neglect. The digital heartbeat of our society continues, but it's a heart without a soul. Phones, left on desks and in pockets that are no longer there, ring endlessly into the void. Voicemails pile up with no one to listen. Traffic lights continue their programmed dance of red, yellow, and green, directing a flow of traffic that doesn't exist. Automatic sensors in buildings keep doors sliding open and shut for no one. Escalators glide up and down in empty shopping malls. Giant digital billboards flash advertisements to an audience of none. Everything we built to serve us, to connect us, to entertain us, continues to run. But without humans, it all becomes meaningless, a ghost of a civilization performing for an empty theater. The world is full of our digital echoes, but the source of the sound is gone. As we reach the 9-hour mark, nature starts to make its move. It doesn't waste any time. In just a few hours, the planet begins the slow, steady process of reclaiming its space. A gentle wind, no longer blocked by the constant movement of people and vehicles, blows freely through empty city canyons. It gathers stray leaves, dust, and forgotten newspapers, creating small, swirling piles on unmanned highways and in silent town squares. In parks and gardens, the plants continue to grow, but for the first time in a long time, they grow without being trimmed, pruned, or managed. Weeds begin to push their way through cracks in the pavement. Wildflowers, usually pulled, are left to blossom. It's a subtle shift, almost unnoticeable at first, but it's the beginning of a powerful transformation. The green world is starting to creep back into the gray one, taking advantage of our absence. At the 12-hour mark, halfway through our day of absence, the sky itself begins to change. The effect is profound. With no cars on the roads, no planes in the sky, and no factories pumping smoke into the atmosphere, the air starts to clean itself at a remarkable pace. The smog that usually hangs over major cities begins to dissipate, thinning out like a fading memory. The sky becomes a clearer, deeper shade of blue. As night falls, this change becomes even more dramatic. For the first time in generations, cities begin to reveal stars that their inhabitants have never seen before. The Milky Way, usually hidden by light pollution, might stretch across the sky above places like New York, London, or Tokyo. The cosmos reveals its true, breathtaking beauty to a world with no one to look up and appreciate it. The planet is breathing clean air again, and the heavens are putting on a show for an empty Earth. 15 hours into our disappearance, the world becomes a place of unpredictable chaos, mixed with an odd sort of order. Without humans, the world is both safer and more dangerous. Small fires, perhaps started by a short circuit or a lightning strike, burn out on their own. There's no one to accidentally spread them, but there's also no one to put them out. A kitchen fire in an empty apartment might smolder and die, or it could engulf the entire building. Water systems, which rely on constant human monitoring and pressure regulation, begin to fail. Pipes might burst in some areas, while in others, taps simply run dry. The electrical grid, a complex and fragile network, starts to break down section by section. Power plants with automated safety features shut down, plunging entire regions into darkness. The planet becomes a strange patchwork of light and dark, of quiet order and sudden, localized disaster. It's a world running on its last fumes, a mix of untamed beauty and decaying infrastructure. By the 18-hour mark, the Earth is resetting itself. The transformation is almost complete. With the power grids failing, the constant hum of electricity is gone. The world is plunged into a profound darkness, broken only by the moon and stars. There are no lights, no engine noise, no footsteps, no voices. The planet has gone back to a version of itself that existed long before us. This new silence isn't empty, it's filled with the sounds of nature. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of crickets, the howling of a distant wolf. Animals, now emboldened by the darkness and quiet, roam the streets freely. A herd of deer might graze in a city park, or a family of raccoons might explore an empty supermarket. The moonlight becomes the world's only street lamp, casting long, eerie shadows across our abandoned civilization. And silence, true, deep, planetary silence, becomes the new sound of the Earth. After 21 hours, the strangeness intensifies as nature's takeover accelerates. Having had nearly a full day without interference, the natural world adapts with surprising speed. Plants, which were just beginning to creep in, now move with more confidence. Ivy begins to wrap its tendrils around metal street signs. Moss finds fertile ground in the damp, shaded corners of concrete buildings. Seeds, carried by the wind, land in the soil-filled cracks of deserted roads and begin to sprout. Open spaces that were once meticulously maintained are now starting to look a little wilder. It's as if the planet is a canvas and we, the painters, have left. Now, nature is picking up the brush and starting to paint its own picture right over the top of ours. The lines between the man-made world and the natural one are starting to blur. Then, after a full 24 hours, every human suddenly returns. Just as instantly and silently as we left, we are back. We reappear in the exact spots we vanished from. But the world is not the same one we left behind. We find ourselves standing in silent streets under a sky that feels cleaner, clearer. Cities that were once blazing with light are now dark and powerless. The air smells different, fresher, wilder, and then we notice the animals. A fox on a downtown sidewalk, a bird perched on a traffic light, a deer in a backyard all staring at us, not with fear, but with a strange, questioning look. It's as if they're wondering who these loud, disruptive creatures are that have suddenly invaded their new world. Everything is where we left it, but something fundamental has shifted. And maybe we have too. This is what just 24 hours without humans could look like. It's a powerful thought experiment, a reminder that the world doesn't depend on us to keep spinning. But we depend entirely on the world for our survival. We are not its masters, but its guests. And perhaps a single day of silence is all it would take for us to finally understand that. If this story made you imagine something new or see our world in a different light, please like this video, share it with someone who might appreciate it, and subscribe for more stories that will change the way you see life. Thanks for watching.